All right, it's time for the ultimate in observing people's mental breakdowns. The last one that we watched was with Charlie Kirk and Tucker Carlson, and it was just unbearable. Honestly, it was like grinding sandpaper against my eardrums. Here we had quite a few people. Now it opens with Don Jr., but I heard that wasn't even the star of the event. You know, we have Sarah Palin here, I'm pretty sure, and we also had Dennis Prager. And I heard that the Dennis Prager one was particularly noteworthy. Let me see. With these very excellent low-quality thumbnails, it's not easy to find out where exactly Dennis Prager is. Does it say? Do we have a... I don't know why I would expect them to have timestamps on their video, which is made to accompany this incredibly expensive event. I have no idea why I would expect that. No comments? Yeah. Jim Jordan is also insane. True. Hold on. Let's peek around for a little bit, huh?
If you're 90, it's maybe different. If you have a pre-existing condition, it's...
Great.
Doing anything that she can do.
Great. Great.
I still will stand up for those people in the Washington, D.C. jail.
Great.
So, okay, it's deconstructionist in nature. It's about trying to question...
Is this James Lindsay? This is James Lindsay, right? That's Lindsay, yeah. James Lindsay is the most psychotic freak on Twitter. I have no doubt this guy is wearing a diaper right now.
Heteronormative.
Her eyes are responsive.
That's the next thing you know, Glenn.
That's not Dennis Prager.
Because if you value
This guy's not Dennis Prager.
all immigration, we can talk about the stuff we're doing.
Were back in the day.
You. Worse.
Nobody is Dennis Prager. All right, nobody's Dennis Prager. I guess that's your answer right there, isn't it? I want to see what Sarah Palin is up to. You know how long it's been since I've heard her talk? Oh, she's sharing the stage with Charlie Kirk, it seems.
Bold, courageous, loud, louder than they are. They're after
That's
what it is
true.
that we represent. What I hope it is that we represent, because I want to represent it, is truth. This track record should have allowed all of us to anticipate nothing but negative, nothing but bad, nothing but tragedy would happen under this man's watch. Divided, we fall, and united is where we need to be in order to stand. The status quo is
Yeah, I'd like to say they're dropping beats.
People are taking our country back.
I'm a true champion.
Look at this. It's Death Grips. Yeah, it's Death Grips. Yeah, it's Death Grips. The band I don't know. Death Grip songs. All right, moving along before I get copyrighted. Thank you.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I agree.
Hey, everybody. Morning.
Hey,
Governor,
Charlie.
great to see you.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. Oh, all this good energy. Right on.
So we love having you at our events, and there's a lot happening in the country right now.
Uh-huh.
So I just where do you think the conservative movement is? And isn't it inspiring to see this many young people from all across?
You guys have no idea how inspiring it is, and for old folks like me, to realize that you all are you're in the arena. You all paying attention to what's going on, but even more than that, you being engaged and proposing your own solutions, how we can take this back. And this helps people like me to stay really enthused about what's going on in the conservative movement.
So, Governor, this year there's been kind of the rise of the activist mom going to school boards across the country. Talk about the mama bears that are rising up and taking back America.
Yeah, the mama bears. So,
flashback to that clip of the one woman screeching about anal sex at the school board meeting before she was muted and taken away.
That was me like 30 years ago, before mama bears were cool. I was a mama bear. I, too, years ago, had recognized in my own town that, well, in my case, in my town, there were a lot of private property rights that were being infringed upon. So I ran for office and served on city council, then was elected mayor and city manager.
Okay, I'm looking at the scheduling for the previous day, and Dennis Prager was supposed to come on at 2:15, which would have been 5 hours and 15 minutes after the event began, but this video only lasts for 4 hours 54 minutes. So my guess is that it's part of another second video, that the stream got cut out or they paused it briefly. And that, yeah, here we go. So this is day 2, session 1. Where's day 2, session 2? What are they hiding from us? Huh? 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 So here's day 3, session 1. Where's day 2, session 2? What are they hiding? What are they hiding from us? Prager at top? This is 3 minutes. I want the whole damn thing. What are they hiding, huh? Huh? Who pooped themselves on stage? Huh? Who had an oopsie poopsie? Come on. Fess up.
And then I moved on up from there, realizing how important it is for moms and everybody else to be engaged in the local level. The most responsive and responsible level of government is that local level. And, you know, that's where all the change really starts.
1.1.
That's where the change has to happen in our nation, again, in order for us to get this back. So, yeah, moms who will, you know, like the mama grizzly, like what we have up there in Alaska all over the place, you know, a mama's going to just rear up on those hind legs and protect her cubs. She's going to protect that next generation, doing anything that she can do to make sure that, you know, that next generation is safe and secure and free.
Yeah, another testament to the strength of Republican messaging is that they really make an effort to adopt diversity of messaging, you know. They'll have like Ben Shapiro nerdy debate lord types. They'll have, you know, mama bear this, that, or the other. They'll bring like they'll bring like everyone over, like every aesthetic, every type of people they can get, you know. Whereas with the Democrat events, I don't really get that feeling. It just feels like everyone's kind of in the same, you know, progressive Democrat block. It's harder to reach out to other groups.
And so I think we have some students from Alaska. I asked last night. We have someone from Alaska here. They're right there. So you got a couple people. Yeah. Wow, that's a long flight. So Governor, but yet we've seen the Department of Justice and Merrick Garland now try and criminalize parents that are showing up to school boards across the country, calling them potential domestic terrorists. Why is the federal government doing that?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's like, bring it on. You know, to me, that it's
really
motivating. You know, when someone like Merrick is yakking like that, you know that you're doing something right. So, you know, let them do that. Let them do that. And let that be empowerment and fuel for you all when we are.
So I think that what they're referring to is this from the Department of Justice. Justice Department addresses violent threats against school officials and teachers. So they're not talking about people just showing up to PTA meetings. They're talking about people making threats against people at PTA meetings. So, you know, obviously those are distinct things right there. Citing an increase in harassment, intimidation, and threats of violence against school board members, teachers, and workers in our nation's public schools, today Attorney General Merrick B. Garland directed the FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office to meet in the next 30 days with federal, state, tribal, territorial, and local law enforcement leaders to discuss strategies for addressing this disturbing trend. So, I mean, sure. You know, maybe we are going to roll back. Maybe it is going to be necessary for teachers to carry guns at school, but not to defend themselves against school shooters. It'll be to defend themselves against, like, screeching red-faced Karens, you know, shrilly talking about anal sex as they storm the school with their AR-15s and ammo belts strapped around their neck.
Are criticized and condemned and mocked even for our activism.
True.
I use that as fuel. It just motivates me to get out there, you know, even more aggressively. Again, you know that you're doing something right when you're taking those people off.
Well, and what's been so inspiring is how more parents started to show up to these school board meetings. And we can't forget the dads who also showed up to these school board meetings as well. But we all know it really was the moms that was leading the movement in a variety of different ways. So, Governor, a lot of people say, I want to get involved, but I'm afraid that I might be called bad names or I might lose friends. Is it worth it?
Welcome to my world. That's just, yeah, it's worth it. It's
You're
worth
a wealthy
it if you care
politician.
at all about, you know, our charters of liberty in this nation. If you care at all about what it means to be an American, and if you're concerned about, especially a younger generation, not understanding what it means to be an American. Yeah, it's worth it. All that criticism. I, live by that mantra too. A pastor out of Bethel in Redding, California, he had said, if you don't live by man's praise, you're not going to die by man's criticism. And I think about that all the time. Those who are going to criticize and, like I say, and mock and try to tell you to sit down and shut up, I just can brush that aside because I know that, it really matters not what man thinks of me and my activism. When you know that you're on the right path, you're doing the right thing, you just take those darts and arrows and it's fine.
So keep in mind, so those of you who weren't around back in 2008, it's important to establish context, okay? Sarah Palin isn't mentally unwell, as is the case with many of her compatriots. She's just very stupid. Just in case you were wondering, I don't think it's drugs or anything. She's just not bright. She's never been bright. She's just kind of stupid. That's just always been kind of what she's about. 2008 Palin was worse. I actually do think she is better now than she was 13 years ago. Yeah, I agree.
You've been the recipient of such unfair treatment from the media. How do you handle that? And what's your advice for people to be able to navigate that?
Isn't it strange how, we're all wired differently. God puts within us, in our DNA, I think you too, an ability to take that, right? To take that criticism and to be able to brush it off. Because I really don't care at all what the critics say. Because, as I say, if I were hesitant at all in my beliefs in what I know that this country needs, then maybe I would give it more consideration, all that condemnation. But because I'm right, so
I do appreciate the fact that a significant portion of this TPUSA event is dedicated to multi-millionaire politicians telling their audiences that they're going to have to deal with being unpopular and unloved for their political beliefs, It is remarkable how much of this is... Because this never happens when left-leaning people get up there. They're never like, yeah, you may lose friends, lose money, lose your job, get your family to disown you, everything. But hey, that's just the price you have to pay for getting to be in the cool kids club, which is with us, It's remarkable. It's very defensive.
It doesn't bother me what they're going to say, because I know I'm right.
Oh, by the way... Right now, if you in YouTube chat don't like the stream, I am literally going to commit a pogrom against YouTube chatters, okay? It'll be bad. It's going to go down in the history books, all right? It's going to be really bad, okay? People aren't even going to remember me as a YouTuber. They're just going to remember me as that guy who somehow committed an ethnic cleansing of YouTube chatters, There will be a lot of confusion in the wiki article. They're going to be like, how did he do that? How did he get info on all of them? How is it an ethnic cleansing if it's YouTube chatters? Is that even an ethnicity? But the only answers they will get to their inquiries is the cold silence of a mass grave. So just work on that.
Now,
Also
Governor, there's
subscribe.
a raging debate, even though there shouldn't be, about mandatory vaccines and the vaccine in general. And do you have some thoughts on that, Governor?
Wait! Oh my God! Remember, I just saw this. This was just from today. Oh my God! I needed to fit this in somewhere, and if it's gonna be here, it's gonna be here. Oh my God!
We did something that was historic. We saved tens of millions of lives worldwide. We together, all of us, not me. We got a vaccine done, 3 vaccines done, and tremendous therapeutics like Regeneron and other things that have saved a lot of lives. We got a vaccine done in less than 9 months that was supposed to take from 5 to 12 years. Because of that vaccine, millions and millions of people, I think this would have been the Spanish flu of 1917, where up to 100 million people died. This was going to ravage the country far beyond what it is right now. Take credit for it. Take credit for it. What we've done is historic. Don't let them take it away. Don't take it away from ourselves. You're playing right into their hands when you sort of like, oh, the vaccine. If you don't want to take it, you shouldn't be forced to take it. No mandates, but take credit because we saved tens of millions of lives. Take credit. Don't let them take that away from you.
Okay, so the president made news.
Do you agree with that? Right?
Both the president and I are vaxxed, and did you get the booster?
Yes.
I got it too. Okay, so
Don't. No. That's it's a very tiny.
That feel when your strategy of allowing your constituency to die to the plague is not a good long-term strategy. That feel when.
Yes, I do. Yeah, and I'm glad you asked. Yeah. Yeah, well, do you remember Fauci had said, and he's just
Dr.
the
Fauci?
biggest shyster out there on TV.
Two
guys.
masks.
Every time I listen to him, it drives me crazy because he's the most inconsistent talking head
Dr. Fauci.
You know, I've come across. Do you remember he said that if you had COVID, this was months and months ago, you would be naturally then immune, of course. So at the time, we were led to believe we wouldn't need to, you know, have the shot, right? Well, then they changed their tune, and now those of us who have had COVID, they're telling us that even though we've had it and we have natural immunity.
At no point did he ever say, if you've had COVID, you shouldn't get the vaccine. That has absolutely never happened. He has never said that, okay? Yes, if you get a disease, you will enjoy some degree of natural immunity for some time. That's the case for, like, most diseases. He has at no point has he said you do not need the vaccine if you've gotten COVID.
Now that we still have to get a shot. And it'll be over my dead body that I'll have to get a shot. I will not do it.
Sure. Fine.
I won't do it, and
Okay.
they better not touch my kids either, because that's where the...
Well, Governor, some
That's
people
her
say,
husband's
though,
job.
I might lose my job. I might get kicked out of school.
Yeah,
Then
I know.
do it.
And,
Then do it. Lose everything. Do it. Get kicked out of school. Lose your job. Die in a subway rail car station, okay? All of it is worth it to just avoid the free, easily available vaccine that has significantly lower likelihood of causing side effects than the disease it's protecting you from. Just anything. Just, you know what? Honestly, conservatives, Charlie Kirk says, just kill yourself. Just anything to avoid. Do a Jonestown. Drink the Kool-Aid. Whatever. Anything to avoid getting the Fauci-ouchie. Dr. Fauci.
you know, I think if enough of us, though, rise up and say, no, enough is enough, there are more of us than there are of them. So for us to be hesitant and for us to kind of wait for somebody else to take this on and, you know, stand up and say, you know, no, enough is enough. You need to all look around and realize that as you stiffen your spine and, you know, take those positions that you know are right, especially when it comes to
they mean the Jews.
Government telling us what we have to inject in our own bodies. You know, no. Realize that those around you, as you stiffen your spine, their spines too will stiffen. And
you guys remember that TikTok craze of like, and it's always like old white women, you know, where they would get the vaccine and then they would like fake having the shakes for like a dramatic YouTube video. Like they'd get it and then someone would hold a video being like, she's been like this all week and she's, you know, and like everyone would make fun of it. And of course, like they're faking it, like obviously, you know, maybe there's like, yeah, the magnets, you know, maybe there's some like psychosomatic or mental illness shit going on, but like, I remember that. It was just a craze. Yeah, the woman who lied about being magnetic. It's just really funny stuff. The spine will stiffen? What the fuck are you talking about?
there is an empowerment in a group like this where you all can realize and kind of feed off each other and really be strengthened to be able to stand up boldly, confidently, and tell government officials, no, get off our back. Get back on our side, get off our back, especially when it comes to this specific issue.
Well, so let's see. So according to the federal government and Fauci, it's 100% safe and effective. So this needs to be done. I did this on our wonderful campus tour for...
No. It was advertised as 95% effective originally for the one, and then 90% for the other. Nobody said 100%.
With our Turning Point USA chapters, I want you to listen to the question carefully. I want you to raise your hand if
Pfizer
you
was
or someone you
95,
know personally had a serious adverse event to this vaccine. Raise your hand.
It's gonna be every single one of you. Incredible. What a remarkable... Good thing this is how data collection is done. Wow, oh my god, every single person here knows somebody who's died to the vaccine.
Almost every single hand in this
Oh
room.
my! Yeah, of course, naturally. By the way, guys, I know 0 people who have had an adverse effect of the vaccine. Chat, how many of you? Be honest. How many of you? Yeah, and there are more people watching this stream right now than there are people packed into that audience. Now, that's not to say it's impossible for there to be adverse vaccine effects. It's absolutely possible that that's the case. You know, you can have a slight, sometimes, occasionally, you know, moderate to severe. But yeah, every single one of them. You know, this is like those people who, you know, like somebody will get a vaccine and then later they'll die of something else and they'll blame the vaccine or whatever. You know.
Was raised. For the con artists out of the media, it's either what's going on here. Maybe there's something that is so beyond what's not being reported that when you have thousands of hands that go up in a room like this, I don't know about you, but I know personal stories of some very tragic reactions.
Yes, anecdote. Yes. What they mean is that there was a Facebook meme they spread around talking about some friend of a friend of a friend of a friend's uncle who died of the vaccine or whatever, and they shared that, and they're like, now I know a person. Again, like the fact that this is a political party and these are real people really does make me want to die. Like the fact that this is what we're dealing with right here, you know. Like he might as well have said, like, raise your hand if you've ever personally heard the voice of God in your head. Raise your hand if you have ever, you know, if you have ever seen an evil demon possess somebody in public. I mean, just everyone. Wow, everyone raised their hand. That's crazy.
Step further. Let's say, raise your hand if you beyond any reasonable, like beyond reasonable doubt, you believe the vaccine contributed to the death of somebody that you know. Raise.
Now, what do you think the answer is going to be, guys? What do you think is going to be? It's wow, every one of you. Wow, that's crazy. Every single one of you.
Your hand.
Beyond a reasonable doubt. I mean, legal.
Look around the room. 2 people. We're not even allowed to talk about this. Are you kidding me?
Oh, just 2 people? Wait, only 2? Wait, turn the camera around. Hold on. Turn the camera around. Are they being honest over there? Turn the camera around. Show me 2 liars in the audience.
You Governor, what's going on here? You just saw thousands of hands get raised, and I was very careful with how I asked the question, right? And let's pretend half of the people here are wrong. Is this a scandal? Wow. I mean, it's beyond anything we've ever lived through in our life, and we're not even allowed to talk about it.
Right, and that's the scary thing.
Wait, did a lot of people raise their hand? The way they're talking makes it sound like a lot of people raised their hand, but then they said 2 people. Wait, how many people raised their hand?
Is you know, well, it really is the thought police that are trying to crack down. When we're not allowed to talk about something, you know what that leads to?
You're talking about it right now.
Those who don't want us to talk about something. Ultimately, they don't want us to think about something, and it is a thought police type issue. Because
you
when
never
you are
shut up
afraid
about
to
it.
speak
You're
the truth,
always talking about it.
Well, they got you then, and then you're afraid to actually think that truth. Then they really got you, and that's how they control people. Okay, so you can't be afraid to talk about it. You can't be afraid to talk about the inconsistencies. This is such a joke. The inconsistencies and the you know, it's been one thing after another, and you need to ask yourselves too, how did we get to this point?
My personal theory is that it really was just 2 people in the audience who raised their hand, and the reason they're talking like this and the reason Charlie Kirk sounded so incredulous is because they expected far more, and they're panicking and they're pivoting now to the nobody will let us talk about this except for right now when all of us politicians and major pundits are talking about it openly with nobody stopping us from doing so because there are no laws against talking about it.
You know, when one law or one mandate or some accepted protocol comes down the pike and we accept it, we're tolerant of it, but then it gets worse and worse and worse. I need to know, what is the catalyst? What's the catalyst where enough people are going to be able to really capture this issue and you know, join with me and others saying enough is enough? There's got to be something that happens that will really awaken people.
Well, I mean, I grew up being lectured by these really angry people screaming at me saying, my body, my choice.
Right.
And which, by the way, life begins at conception and every life is deserving of protection.
There we go. Thank you.
And it's one of the most important fights of our generation to end abortion in our lifetime. I hope the media writes that in every single article. To end abortion in our lifetime.
Why would
and
they?
Stop the slaughter of 1 million children every single year in America.
Why would they do that?
And
that's why I love you guys. You guys get it. don't you understand this? And oh my gosh, it's
Close
just so
your legs,
empowering.
ladies. Yeah, they don't
Say,
give a
only
fuck
talk
about
tax
fetuses.
cuts. Like, yeah, no, when we have a million abortions every single year, I'm going to keep on talking about that. And I pray and I hope the U.S. Supreme Court repeals Roe versus Wade this coming summer.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like it's now or never, Charlie, with that issue. I mean, we have the opportunity finally. And, yeah, you know, back to the virus, though. It's not about a virus. It is about control. This is about government controlling the people. And look how easily they kind of herded us together, right? As we're kind of a bunch of sheep for a while there. People just trusting what Fauci and others were telling us. And, no, I think they've just taken it too far. You know, if they were serious about...
Wow, now it actually does look to me like the last bit fizzled. They need to get the audience back on their side. Yeah, that's why the abortion thing came out of absolutely fucking nowhere, you know. It's because, again, conservatives are subhuman. They are absolute children. You know, the people in that audience, they might as well need like applause signs, okay? They get lost a little bit, too many words strung together that they don't really get. Okay, Charlie mentions abortion. They start cheering again. They remember we watched the first day of the TPUSA event, that Charlie Kirk, when talking, would just effortlessly pivot between talking points with no relationship to each other in an effort to keep the audience, you know, loud. But there wasn't really a through line. It was completely all over the place. Because ultimately, that's all conservatives really want, okay? They don't need strong, consistent messaging or like a plan to make their life better or whatever else, okay? The only thing that they need is, you know... Honestly, all I can really think of is that Trump speech where he said woke is dumb, and that got more applause than anything else he said. Right? I mean, remember that? Everything else he said just fell to milquetoast applause, and then he dropped the woke equals poop, and people lost their fucking minds.
Eradicating a virus, and there are more viruses on Earth than there are stars in the sky. We're never going to eradicate viruses, but if they were serious about this, our borders would be closed, and those crossing the borders, they'd be tested. That's evidence of what a joke this is.
Yes, and it's about actually criminalizing American citizens. Meanwhile, the 2 million people that are illegally entering into our country, they could do whatever they want.
Good.
So I want to ask you, Governor, there's another issue that I think is
I hope they commit crimes. That's how pro-immigration I am. I think people who immigrate illegally to the United States should commit 1 crime a year. Minimum, okay? 1 crime a year, all right? Nothing too serious. You know, we're not talking rape, murder, robbery, burglary, you know? But like more, you know, like throw a brick at a car. 1 a year, you know. Pee off of a rooftop. Just something like that, you know. Even it out. Yeah, get a free candy bar. 1 free crime, you know. That's what I want.
Important that we're not supposed to talk about, that is all, kind of around this theme that you and I have been kind of going back and forth which is the problem with tolerance. Now, I want you to, you're not allowed to say this out loud, which is exactly why I want to say this. Because you see all these ridiculous bumper stickers as if tolerance is the most important value.
Yeah, but you won't tolerate me. You claim to be tolerant, but you won't even tolerate me saying the N-word at black people. You're not tolerant. You're a hypocrite. You should be tolerant of me saying the N-word at black people.
No, we shouldn't tolerate evil things. For example, we shouldn't tolerate...
Oh, wait, hold on. Charlie. I agree. But you're cracking the ice under your own feet right now.
Men in women's sports, like...
Bring the audience back. Let's talk about the greatest evils afflicting America right now. We got income inequality, war, disease, terror. Let's talk about trans women in sports. Let's really get people where they're affected personally, you know. Let's absolutely run it through, Charlie. Hit it up. Talk about the great evil you're preventing.
Why is this even a question?
I don't know. Why do we keep talking about it, Charlie? I am exceedingly curious. I am actually incredibly confused as to why we keep talking about it, in spite of this literally not mattering.
Right? And so, tolerance and apathy are attributes of a dying society. And tolerance...
Well, that's a little bit Hitlery. Tolerance is endemic of a dying society. That's a little Hitlery, you know. That's a little bit. That's a little bit Nazi-esque, my humble opinion, personally, a little bit.
Has been weakness for the American project
There
the
we
last
go.
20 years. Now, what people mean by tolerance is they mean don't be mean to others. Like, okay, I obviously believe that. I think that we should be Christ-like, but Christ was 100% grace on 100% truth. And this idea that we should be okay with the destruction of how God made man and God made woman, like, we shouldn't put up with this. And you have this person who I believe needs counseling and needs compassion and needs a pastor to guide him to kind of biological reality.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, how do you think it feels to be a Christian and to just watch everything you care about be destroyed? Like, how do you think it feels to be Charlie Kirk and know that you've lost the culture war? The culture war has been so thoroughly lost by conservatives that in essentially any medium, whether it be film, television shows, music, whatever, if you're even remotely bigoted against trans people, it's going to be a major issue for your publication, you know? Like, the bigotry, casual bigotry that would have been acceptable just 20 years ago is massively unacceptable today. They have lost. God is dead. Everything they cared about is burning to the ground. I wonder how that feels, you know? Like, they're taking so many L's day after day. Just the L's keep rolling up. Like, every day they wake up, people are more accepting of trans people, you know? Psychiatry and biologists, they've moved forward with this, that, or the other. You know, the world is getting better and they're just seething, you know? Sarah Palin said earlier, you know, eventually enough is enough. Something's got to wake us up. They've been saying that for a century, you know? Somebody's got to wake up about the dangers of desegregation. Somebody's got to wake up about gay rights. Somebody's got to wake up about gay marriage. Somebody's got to do this, that, and the other. And it never happens because you guys are already awake. You're just smaller and weaker than us, you know? You are awake. It's not a silent majority. You're an incredibly loud minority, and you're losing day after day.
Who is basically destroying women swimming from the University of Pennsylvania. I don't know if you guys saw the story or not. This man who has some deep-seated mental problems, obviously, and I mean, I don't say that as a joke, by the way. I really hope he gets treatment. But, like, don't have your mental problems destroy women's sports for other people that don't have the same testosterone levels that you have.
What do they say? Pennsylvania? Penn State swimming trans. Editor of Swimming World says transgender swimmer Leah Thomas has advantage over competitors. I haven't looked at this. Here's a New York Post article, the hallmark of you know, good journalism on trans issues. A teammate of Leah Thomas says
now was on a transgender swimmer.
Shut up! Has spoken out as the trans swimmer has shattered school records. Let me see. For her transition, Thomas competed at Penn for 3 years as a male. She recently set school records in the 200-meter freestyle and the 500-meter freestyle in November. This past weekend, the record-breaking stretch continued as Thomas set a school record in the 1,650-meter freestyle. She seems very talented. Her teammate, Anna Kaladadidzi, finished in second place, over 38 seconds behind Thomas. Holy shit. 38-second lead. My fucking God. I don't know. It seems like the issue here is just if you're going to have trans athletes, they should probably be on hormones for like 2 years. I've said it before, estrogen annihilates your body, you know, it just tears you apart, obliterates. You know, if you do that, it should be fine. She was on HRT for at least a year. Maybe it could be more. I don't really care. See, here's the problem, Chad, okay? The issue is that I live in reality. And over here in reality, this doesn't fucking matter. Seriously. Holy shit. That's my based and red-pilled opinion on transit sports. Why the fuck I could throw darts at a board and find a trillion more consequential subjects than this, you know? The only reason people give a fuck about this is because it's a way to shit on trans people. When the fuck have conservatives ever cared about fairness in women's sports? When was that ever even an issue? They don't care. Nobody cares. Nobody gave a shit about this until they wanted to make it a culture war issue. So I will adopt, you know, I will return to tradition, you know. I'll take the old perspective on this and not give a fuck.
And that's the worst thing you could possibly do. And so, Governor, how do we save women's sports?
Yeah,
Like, that's something they
really
care
important
about.
to me also. by the way, sports are and healthy competition. I mean, that's just a foundation of mine. And in fact, I started my career as a sportscaster, and that's what I wanted to do, was report on not just women's sports but men's sports. So to me, it's tragic what's going on. And doesn't it make you wonder who is okaying this stuff? Because normal people don't want to see that. Normal people would not. If you just ask man on the street, is it okay for that guy, that swimmer, you know, taking over the women's swim team and of course smashing all the records?
He's winning by like 47 seconds. It's enough to take a nap,
It was
get a beer,
38,
and like,
don't lie.
go for a walk. I mean, in swimming, that's an eternity.
Right. So, I mean, I don't even have to ask in this crowd, right? How many of you think it's okay? Does anybody think
Not in
it's
this
okay?
room.
I do. In fact, I would happily enter women's athletic competitions as a cis man and crush them. As an unathletic guy, I'm sure I could find at least a couple things that with a few months training, I could just obliterate the women's records easily, you know. By the way, I'll break age records too. Send me to middle school volleyball. Is that a thing? Something, okay? Put me up against high schoolers. I'll kill them. They'll be destroyed instantly. I will pulverize them, you know. What's an easy one? Soccer? Elementary school soccer, okay? These bitches can barely fucking walk without falling over, okay? I will annihilate them. I will fucking dead zone the ball from the other side of the field and leave soccer ball shaped holes in all of the kids on the way, you know? It'll be like a fucking anime move, okay? Do basketball? Do they, for like elementary school, middle school, whatever, they have like lower baskets, right? I will walk over to the basket and simply drop the ball in. Then I will catch it with my other hand and cycle feed it, you know. The kids will be crying on the field. I don't care. And then I will fight all of their families, because of course their families would be quite angry. I don't care. The rules don't allow for that. Then I'll fight the referee. The referee's a kid too, right? If it's like kids basketball, or like, I'll fight them. What are they gonna do? Beat me?
And it's not just this crowd either. It is normal people. They don't think that it's okay. So it's just that minuscule percentage of people who happen to be kind of the self-proclaimed movers and shakers. They're the ones making these decisions. But I go back again to there are more of us than there are of them.
Nah.
So why do we tolerate things like this? And we get the government that we tolerate. So
Right.
I am going to keep going back to saying, okay, what's it going to take, you guys? What is it going to take? What's a catalyst where enough people are going to say, this is out of control? So many things going on in our country. It's just crazy town what's going on. And it's so many un-American things happening. And yeah, you know, we talk about it amongst ourselves. I am such a proponent of getting out there in pop culture, though, infiltrating and influencing pop culture, because everything is downstream from pop culture.
And
Instead
they've
of just
lost.
preaching, you know, to the choir and within the four square walls of a church or anything else. We need to get out there. We need to tell those movers and shakers that we won't just sit back. We won't just take this, because if we do, you guys, they win in their drive to fundamentally transform America, transforming us into something that is not going to be recognizable to you who love America. So, you know, we can banter about it and talk about it ourselves, but we got to get out there. And that's where the criticism comes in too. When you're willing to get out there, especially in pop culture, and affect change, yeah, you're going to be criticized, but you guys, it's worth it. And we need you too. We need the young people in this country to just be so passionate about it.
Well, and it's such an important...
Keep in mind, TPUSA's main goal is to try to bring over like conservative kids or whatever. The issue is that like the rural-urban divide has kicked up massively, you know. Almost every major city in the United States is overwhelmingly Democrat, and that's for a number of reasons, you know, higher average level of education, more racial diversity, stuff like that. The problem is, like, listen, no hate to the rural folks, but you fucks don't make TV shows. TV shows are complicated. You got to make them in cities, buddy. The issue is, like, pretty much the media production and basically all high-end cultural artifacts are gatekept behind urban civic participation. TV shows, movies, music, video games overwhelmingly are made by disproportionately progressive people, you know? This is like an insurmountable like problem for conservatives. Now, I'm not saying this is some like historical inevitability. It's always possible there will be backlash, people's minds might change, but I don't really see it happening, you know? Like nowadays even like if you follow the indie game scene, you see this from time to time. nowadays indie games, if they have even slightly problematic stuff in them, will get like significant backlash. I mean, I remember there was an indie game that was hyped up a bit, but then there was some transphobic stuff, and I'm forgetting a lot of details here. I don't really remember, but there was something people thought it was fairly objectionable. It wasn't some little thing. I think it was worth really criticizing. Was it Ion Fury? It was something. It was something. This happens from time to time, but people got really mad, and stuff changes too. And another big part of this is that artists are overwhelmingly left-leaning. Not always, but generally. And that's because good art requires forethought, introspection, and a lot of other characteristics conservatism explicitly... Empathy, yeah. Empathy for the human experience, you know? Being a good artist means being able to understand how other people feel about things. I mean, fundamentally, you know, you can be a good artist and not understand that, but I do think there's a component of empathy in much good art, especially like mass media produced art, you know, not just like a painting done by some highfalutin professional, but something that's meant to be consumed by hundreds of thousands or millions of people. You need to be willing to engage with people as they are. And again, conservatism is just not... You can look at this back through the ages, too. Artists have always been relatively progressive. They were subversive and progressive 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 150, 200 years ago. Always has the art world been, at least in part, the zenith of progressive thought, which is one of the reasons why historically conservative or fascist regimes have always cracked down on artistic degeneracy. You know, they want to censor the art.
Point. So for years we were told that, well, how does it impact you if a man thinks he's a woman or a woman thinks he's a man? This is the lie of American liberalism, as if it's going to stop corroding everything that we love. As if like, oh yeah, we're just going to kind of allow people to go whatever restroom they go in. Oh, now we don't have women's sports. By the way, at the pace we're going, we will tell our kids there used to be a thing called women's sports, just so we're clear. That is the pace that we are going. I
notice how he's not making an argument for anything being made worse. He's just sort of complaining about a fake reality. What are the arguments?
Part of it is that people are afraid of the names they're going to be called. They're afraid that they're going to be called transphobic, whatever that is, right?
Charlie, you're not stupid. You know what it means.
Actually, putting that aside, I do have a deep fear that the next generation is not going to respect biological and God-given differences between men and women. We should all be...
Oh, he is afraid. Guys, you've got him on the ropes.
Afraid of that. In fact, we should be terrified of that. And what this ends up creating in a lot of different ways is the most confused and miserable generation in American history, raised by a political correct regime that has been afraid to tell people things that are biologically and metaphysically true.
Metaphysically true. Do tell us, Charlie, how you have arrived at metaphysical truth. I would love to know how you've solved philosophy and arrived at a metaphysical truth. That is extremely interesting to me. It's of course, well, for him it's God, of course. You know, that's the thing he's referring to.
Because for whatever reason, they might have someone angrily comment on their Instagram post or their Facebook post. And you said it perfectly, Governor. We get the government that we tolerate. And we've kind of had this idea that we can kind of just sit idly by and like, oh yeah, I might not agree with that, but as long as it doesn't impact me, well, it's impacting all of you now. Is that same sort of like, well, it doesn't mean anything if they go into a restroom. Let me tell you a real story, and I'd love to get your comments on this, Governor. Like, what's the big deal with transgender bathrooms? How about you go to Loudoun County, Virginia?
What?
Where you go look that father in the eye that got arrested at a school board meeting, try to complain about transgender bathrooms. They arrested him for doing that. Why was he there to complain? He was there to complain because his daughter got raped in the bathroom by a man who thought he was a woman.
Oh, we covered this. He's lying right now. Isn't this the story that we talked about? This is the lie. So the daughter was raped before the school had any trans bathroom policy at all. The two are completely unrelated. And was it even at school? There was another incident. I think it was 2 rapes. One of them wasn't even at school. Like, there's literally no relationship between the two. I hope that dad gets double arrested. You know, sucks for the family, and, you know, on a shame, like the daughter. I mean, the guy who raped her can go to hell or whatever. But it's nothing to do with trans issues. No relationship. He's just lying right now. You're under double arrest. Yeah. Yeah, man, it's got to be rough to be a conservative here. Was the rapist even trans? I don't even know if that was even determined. It's got to be rough here. More than 6 in 10 Americans say they become more supportive towards trans rights compared to their views 5 years ago. By contrast, only a quarter say their views are more opposed compared to 5 years ago. About 3/4 of Democrats report they become more supportive of trans rights in the last 5 years, compared to 64% of independents. And hey, this is critical, only 47% of Republicans. Nearly half of Republicans have still said they're more supportive of trans rights in the past 5 years. This was done in 2019, so it's not perfectly up to date, but representative, you know. Notably, increased support crosses ideological divides within the party. Conservative Republicans, 40%, stand out as the only ideological group with less than half reporting increased support for trans rights. Self-reported change by party and religious affiliation. So here we have all Americans, you know, and then within the Republican Party, moderate and liberal Republicans are actually more supportive than the average American. So, and then conservative Republicans are basically split 50-50, you know? With the independents, both the conservative and moderate or liberal independents are quite favorable towards trans people proportionally. And then, of course, for, you know, Democrats, you have the expected values here. Even if you're looking at white evangelical Protestants, there's still a huge ratio in favor of more supportive rather than less supportive with time. Unaffiliated, a huge, group. Although majorities of every age group increased support for trans rights over the last 5 years, young Americans, 68%, are more likely than seniors, ages 65 and older, is 56%. Even boomers, 65 years old and older, 56% more likely. That is incredible. Really, that is incredible. That is extraordinary stuff. Majorities of every single major religious group. Military service, let me see. Support for trans people in the military by party affiliation, which is funnily enough normalized between 2017 and 2019. Keep in mind, Trump was in office when this was done. So the trans people were still banned from the military. Democrats were 83% in favor of trans people in the military to 78%, a 5% drop, interestingly. Independents and all Americans essentially stayed the same, but weirdly, over the course of Trump's presidency, Republicans, 10% more of them supported trans people in the military, even though Trump was in office and it was a ban he enacted that was still in effect at this time. That's interesting. I don't know why that would be, to be honest with you. Broad support across demographic groups for trans service in the military. More than 6 in 10 non-white, 68% of non-white people, and 61% of white people favor trans service in the military. 2 in 3 women and 59% of men, and so on. Bathroom accommodations. Over the past few years, several so-called bathroom bills have appeared in state legislators. Americans are divided over this, so this is a bit more contentious here. So we'll see here differences between the two times. Percent who favor or oppose laws that require trans individuals that use bathrooms that correspond to their sex at birth rather than their current gender identity. So in this case, what we see here is polarization. Between 2017 and 2019, a greater number of people either favor it. The total number of people who are favorable to such a law has increased. The total number of people who are opposed to it has increased as well. But not by as much. And the number who don't know has decreased by about 1/3. So about split on that, I would say. How comfortable are Americans with trans people? A majority of Americans say they would be somewhat or very comfortable having a close friend tell them they're trans. That's nice. Over half of Americans report they would feel somewhat or very comfortable learning a local elementary school teacher is trans. I think that's also quite nice. Over half, I mean, people tend to be a bit more reactionary when it comes to like trans people teaching their kids or whatever. Less than half would feel somewhat or very comfortable with having their own child tell them they're transgender, which I guess is to be expected. That would be the lower metric. Do we have a change over time, 2017 to 2019? I don't see a change over time here, just the relative proportions. With Republicans, of course, being the lowest group here and Democrats being the highest, unsurprisingly, you know. Having a trans friend, 52% of Republicans, 73% of Democrats say they'd be comfortable, very comfortable, having a close friend tell them they're trans. Women are more comfortable than men, so on and so forth. Trans teacher, having a trans child, trans stigma. Perception of stigma faced by LGBT people by party affiliation. So percent who say the following group faces a lot of stigma or negative social judgment in their community. So it's actually fairly even across the board, with Republicans reporting the lowest, probably because they're the least perceptive of negative social stigma. But interestingly, Democrats and Republicans seem basically on par here. So yeah, that's mostly a perceptive thing, I think. Belief about gender identity by political affiliation. Do you think there are only two possible gender identities, or is there a range of many possible gender identities? And if you take, all Americans, the majority think there are only two genders, and then, over here you have the range of genders. In Democrats, of course, you have, more this, and then Republicans, you have more that. Though interestingly, 24% of Republicans thinking there's a range of genders is more than I would have expected, Bathroom bills, so on and so forth, gender identity, relationship, trans people, so on. It's a lot of data here, but the point that I'm trying to get at here is that in terms of civil rights and social acclamation, everything regarding trans people right now is quite positive. Really, it is. I know trans people get a lot of rough treatment. I'm not denying that. I know that, things aren't easy or whatever. But as civil rights struggles go, I think that the trans rights struggle in the United States is notable for how significant the rise in positive attention has been, how much work has been done in so short a time. So that's good.
And then they sent the young man to another school where he raped again. What we are experiencing, what's the takeaway of this?
So it had nothing to do with trans people, that rapist. Nothing. There was no relationship between trans bathroom bills and the rapist. Absolutely nothing.
Is that if we don't draw definitive lines of what is good and what is evil, what is right, what is wrong, then the whole society really starts to fall apart. But it comes down to this. It's impossible under the current regime to do that without being called bad names.
But I think we know rape is wrong. It's impossible to do that without getting some hate. But guess what? That matters a lot more than whether or not you're going to get a bunch of Instagram likes or that people are going to think really highly of you. And so, Governor, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah. Well, I just love where you're going there with this encouragement for people to, regardless of what you're going to be called, again, taking that strong position. And it's just common sense anyway, man. It's not that difficult to take a stand on something like, how God created us, and DNA is not going to change just because you're going to dress the opposite sex or, And
of course, nobody's talking about changing DNA. But
scar yourself up or something. No, your DNA is your DNA. You know what this comes down to, too, is bigger picture, a healthy fear of God that I think is lacking in our society. And I think that gets the whole idea of fearing God gets a bum rap because I think too many are conditioned to believe that that means that we need to be frightened of God. And
well, that is kind of what that means, isn't it? That is a little bit, fearing God has gotten a bad rap because people are interpreting that saying as that you should fear God. Well, yeah, that is sort of what you're saying.
And assume that his plans for us and the purposes that he's created within us aren't good. We need to individually change that mindset and understand how good God is, and
God is
that
cringe.
His plans for us are so good. And we need a healthy fear of God. And that's why when you have that within you, then you're not going to mess with his plans, with his creation, with his perfection.
So what? We shouldn't have laser eye surgery? You shouldn't wear glasses? You shouldn't wear shoes with orthopedic pads inside to keep your feet from hurting? What is that? Again, this is literally This is the people use the same shit against tattoos back in the day or piercings. It's the same shit. It's we don't like this thing, you know. But now they do it. She has piercings. She has multiple piercings across her ears. If she went back 100 years dressed like this, wearing jewelry like that, she would be called a strumpet. She would. She would be called a strumpet and a godless whore. Absolutely she would. And I guarantee you that people 100 years ago, on average, cared a fuckload more about God than people do today. Yeah, she also got divorced, you know? Like, this means absolutely nothing.
That's what's lacking, generally speaking, in society today. So, you know, those people of faith and people who understand, you know, who have this reverence for God and for his creation, we really need to be bold, and we need to put on a happy face and be happy warriors out there for the faith, letting people know how important it is, how worth it is.
By the way, anybody who gets mad at me for saying Republicans are fascist, and I'm sitting here watching her talk about, like, having to sacrifice to be warriors for God, like, yeah, I feel very comfortable in my designation.
To stand strong on
Let's
God's
put a
word
smile
and
on
on his
that
principles,
face.
on truth. And really, you guys, how simple it is. It's easy. God doesn't make this really tough. If he made it tough on us, then, you know, I think a whole lot of us would be crumbling and failing and really being lost. But God makes it pretty doggone simple. And if we just follow him, follow his ways, put our lives in his hands. If he is so
I thought he tested
in the
us.
creation that he has provided for us, the natural resources for responsible use and everything else that he's created, all the beauty around us, then, man, if he can do that, these wonders, then think what he can do in our little lives when we just put our lives in his hands. It's amazing where you will go.
What the
where
fuck
he will
are you
send
talking about?
when you're willing to follow him. But I digress.
No, I mean, a nation that forgoes God will crumble, and now that's why you have all these fake pseudo-religions replacing it. That's what the BLM movement was.
I swear to God, dude, I really try not to go full 1984, but when I see religion being used like this, I am like 2 seconds away from a full Stalin-era purge of religious thought, okay? I swear to fucking God. When I see stuff like this, we are this fucking close to, you know, bombing the churches and the synagogues and the mosques and the Scientology whatevers and the everything, and you will pray to I don't know, to your Minecraft worlds. You can all pray to Herobrine.
That's what the kind of cult of Greta Thunberg was or is. And by the way, I feel bad for her. They're using her. They are. She's a victim in this. To use children for a political purpose is really wrong and disgusting. But it gives people purpose, right? When you remove a belief in a transcendent being or God or an omniscient, omnipotent creator, then you have a God-sized hole in your heart that you're going to try to fill with something else.
So they're projecting here. They're projecting their weakness onto other people. We can't live without a simplistic, black and white, childlike view of the world. So other people can't live with it as well. You know, other people are suffering.
To try, and these are all different manifestations of that. And this is exactly why they almost have religious kind of commitment to Anthony Fauci.
Dr. Fauci! One God, two God! Long live Fauci.
Because they have really no other kind of moral kind of position on that. And so I want to ask you, Governor, talk a little bit deeper about the Christian aspect of this. Do you believe there's a spiritual dimension to all of this?
Oh, I think spiritual warfare is raging in our country.
No doubt.
We need to really be aware of that. We need to recognize exactly, as Charlie is saying, the issues that we're facing today and the different personalities who are speaking to the issues. There's a lot of foundational spiritual warfare that's going on, and you know, it comes down to good versus evil. I mean, and this is since the beginning of time, right? And the manifestations, as you're suggesting too, that we see today. Things that we've been talking about, these specific issues we've been talking about, they are manifestations of the good versus evil and our God-given rights, our right to freedom, if that's going to be.
Will you all join me in a prayer? To our epidemiologist, Dr. Fauci, who art in the CDC, Hallowed be thy name. Thy vaccine come. Thy will be done in America as it is in the WHO. Give us this day our daily vaccine dose, and forgive us our lack of social distancing, as we forgive those who fail to social distance around us. Lead us not into abandoning thy masks, but deliver us from sickness. Amen.
Be taken away or not. Who do you think controls that? God doesn't want us to have a less and less freedom. He wants us to be responsible human beings, voluntarily looking out for one another, not government telling us where we should be, providing aid and help, but voluntarily we making sure that our fellow man is taken care of. It comes down to darkness and lightness and good versus evil, and obviously.
Darkness and lightness. That
is a driving force in curriculum in schools and public schools, and I'm a product of public schools.
Dude, I was way too hard on Joe Biden, man. With the exception of Charlie Kirk, everyone we've seen at the Americafest so far has been significantly less coherent than Joe Biden. Unironically, like, we make fun of him, but I genuinely think that if you put him in this lineup, he would be in the 90th percentile of charisma and of ability to coherently deliver information.
Schools, my kids have gone to public schools, my parents, public school teachers, I'm rah public schools. But you know what the curriculum there is all about. Ultimately, it is about less and less freedom.
Oh God, and a fucking Obabo, dude. Can you believe hate him if you will, and you should, but like Obabo, it was like the most charismatic human. He was so charismatic. It's almost insane. If you go back and watch Obama talk, and don't be fooled by his serpent's tongue. Okay, he's still the devil, but he was so much. Here's about the 2020 DNC. Just he's so much more charismatic.
Humanity of slavery.
Oh my God, he thinks slavery was humanity?
Drafted. I'm in Philadelphia, where our Constitution was drafted and signed. It wasn't a perfect document. It allowed for the inhumanity of slavery and failed to guarantee women, and even men who didn't own property, the right to participate in the political process. But embedded in this document was a North Star that would guide future generations.
Like, again, serpent's tongue and everything. But yeah, his ability to speak is just head and shoulders above, like, anyone currently politically active, Pete Buttigieg tries, but...
For the individual. And again, where do you think that comes from? That's not a God thing.
Yeah, and it's important to clarify what we mean by freedom. And so one of the great lies of modern America
I love Charlie's
is
hair.
that freedom is being able to do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it. That is not freedom. It is not freedom to have a 9-year-old chemically castrate the way God made them.
I don't think 9-year-olds are being chemically castrated, Charlie.
It's not freedom to have 12-year-olds doing marijuana recreationally. That's not...
Okay, Charlie, that's not legal anywhere in the United States. What are you talking about? It's not freedom to have marauding gangs of infant babies wielding old-timey Tommy guns, robbing people at pickup stations. What are you talking about?
Not freedom. In fact, that's the opposite of freedom. Liberty, or freedom as the founding fathers understood it in the classical sense, which we need to renew as conservatives, is the pursuit of virtue.
Absolutely not. Zero, absolutely not, you fucking theocrat, okay? Absolutely not. Nobody in the founding fathers were inspired by the Enlightenment thinkers, okay? Freedom is not about the pursuit of virtue. That's the reason there was the whole fucking argument between the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists talking about the extent to which the state's powers should be outlined at a federal level. It was not about the pursuit of virtue. It was about the pursuit of happiness, which, if that leads to 12-year-olds token up, God be with them. Thomas Jefferson would be shedding tears of joy.
How you ought to live. Freedom and liberty means to go and live in the way that is meaningful and deep and is beautiful. And that's a complete difference.
No, it's life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, not virtue. Okay, this is just dishonest. This is categorically, objectively incorrect. No honest scholar of the Founding Fathers or of the America's Foundation would say, and by the way, even if it was, fuck them. You know, I don't live my life because some ancient fucking white boys buried somewhere, you know, tell me how to live. Yeah, just the idea that freedom is virtue. No, just no.
It's where some people say, yeah, you know, we just want to have people to do whatever they want to do, however they want to do it. Now,
remember when I was talking about him, or talking about this with him, and I was like, yeah, I think freedom should be about, you know, doing whatever you want as long as you're not hurting other people. And he was like, well, what about pedophilia? And I was like, well, that would be hurting people, so no. And he's like, so ha! See, you do need rules. Remember that? That's verbatim from our conversation. Was it this? Oh, did I cover it in my own video review? Charlie?
People graduate by the time of high school to be skeptical, apprehensive, and not very proud of the country.
No, this right here. This is about schools teaching you to be thankful, you know. Okay, I'll check this link. Let's see.
Greatest society.
I say that. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Just the greatest society is one where a man is born, and there are as few things as possible preventing him from doing what.
I have lost so much weight even since this. Jesus Christ.
Whatever he wants for the rest of his life.
I totally disagree.
So long as, of course, he doesn't deprive others of the ability to do the same.
So I think that's a miserable society.
Freedom?
No, that's not freedom. That's licentiousness or degeneracy. That's chaos.
What is degeneracy? I like men.
How about pedophilia?
Okay, well, obviously
you said
that
whatever he wants. Is pedophilia freedom, Vaush?
As long as they don't infringe on the rights of others. I'm sure you could believe. I would believe.
Well, so there are limits on freedom, is what you're saying. It's not this.
Literally. I wasn't exaggerating. I was like, yeah, you know, freedom is doing whatever you want as long as you don't hurt other people. And he's like, well, what if you hurt other people? What about that, huh? You know, like.
Wild West campaign.
Yeah,
so where do you get those limits from?
Well, obviously, you would probably have to have a pretty complex interlocking legal system to determine what we agree upon as like a reasonable limits we can place on people's behavior. We have that now to an extent.
No, I know. So like pedophilia, bad.
That would be a bad thing.
Okay, kidnapping.
That would be a bad thing.
Rape.
That would be a bad thing.
Why do you think those things are bad?
I think they're bad because you're stripping other people of the ability to do that which they will. With all those examples, you're inflicting harm on a person.
How about dealing drugs?
I think that dealing drugs is a person's freedom, as is taking a person's.
What about dealing drugs to kids?
Dealing drugs to kids? I think I would disagree with that, probably because I think there's something exceptional about addictive substances and children. That being said, I think a lot of stuff would apply to children, specifically contract law. Kids can't sign contracts.
So do you see what I'm getting at? Eventually, you do agree that a conservative framework is necessary.
But I don't think that's a conservative framework, because there are other things I care about that you would always disagree with, like collective ownership of the means of production.
Yeah, I totally disagree. I think private property and freedom are linked together.
Which would give workers the most freedom possible.
We've definitely gone along. A libertarian.
Yeah. It's a whole. It's a whole.
That you didn't see there, where Charlie Kirk basically says, oh, actually, you may have seen it at the very beginning, where Charlie says, I want to appeal to the good or the common good.
Yeah, it goes. Yeah, I did, you know, off stream. I saw Kyle Klinsky's segment on it. He doesn't listen to what you're saying. Well, actually, I think Charlie was really civil with that convo, because at the beginning of that convo, he was trying to get gotchas on me, but later on, it settled down a little bit. I did miss that though. Oh, I like those are the good debates. You know, I walk away from those ones feeling good. You know.
I obviously don't think we should be regulating, like, I don't know how big your Slurpees are from 7-Eleven. Like, I think that's kind of silly, obviously. But I think that.
But what if the Slurpee is so big that it hurts people?
This kind of idea that we need to be like, well, we just have to let people do whatever they want to do. Okay, well, in Oregon, taxpayer-funded minors are allowed to get gender transition surgery without the consent of their parents.
Cool. As long as the doctors vouch for it, yeah. I mean, I assume they can't just walk into a clinic. Like, there's probably a psychiatric, you know, consult. Can I see that law? What is that? It said Oregon? When he said minors, I thought for a second he meant, like, you know, minors. Oregon. What would it be? Child transition law, parental consent? Here we go. Gender reassignment surgery is now available to Oregon minors without parental consent. Well, that's very direct. Let's see. The topic of gender is much discussed lately. Oh, this is from 2015. Wow, this is they really got on that quickly, didn't they? Let's see. The age of medical consent in Oregon is 15, but how far that consent goes is relative to the topic. At 15, teens in Oregon are able to, without their parents' consent, have sex, receive birth control, take a pregnancy test, and get an abortion. Oh, so this is just because they have a lower age of medical consent. So this is just putting gender transition in line with their existing law. Okay, so that seems fine, you know. New law is controversial. Let's see. 15-year-olds are unable to smoke cigarettes or marijuana, drive alone, send or receive texts, vote, work more than 18 hours a week, drink, eat unhealthy foods at school, get tattoos, administer aspirin at school, or use a tanning bed. You know, laws are going to vary a bit. The sheet also states that although they are able to, at the time of the fact sheet's publishing, 0 teens and only 10 adults under the Oregon Health Plan have undergone sex reassignment surgery. Wow. So yeah, he used the term minors instead of teenagers in order to fearmonger, and he also didn't include the fact that this is just in line with their general medical consent, like, age. So yeah.
So are we supposed to kind of sit idly by and say, oh, well, people are allowed to do whatever they want to do? I'll give you another example.
Sure.
You have teachers.
Please, yes. That would be nice. Yes, actually, if you could just chill and let people do what they want without, as long as they're not hurting people. Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
That are now recruiting students into transgender lifestyles in California. Are we supposed to just kind of sit idly by and say,
soldiers.
well, we can allow people to do whatever we want to do? If we don't...
I like the specificity there. Recruiting students into transgender lifestyles. Yes, I'm sure that's a very real thing that's happening. What are we talking about?
Protect those that can't protect themselves, including children, then what good is the conservative movement, everybody? We're like, oh, we're going to sit idly by. Who are we to say, like, no, we're not going to put up with that?
They said the same thing about gay people.
It's important to recognize that, and everyone here knows this is true. And again, this is not a message that every young person wants to hear, but I really don't care, which is the least free people in the world are people that are addicted to either substances or things they can't get off of. They do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it, and they wish they...
What? I think the least free people would be like slaves, maybe, or something like that, probably, you know? Prisoners? I don't know. What they're doing right now is what Charlie Kirk is doing is, and this is a very common authoritarian line, they're defining freedom as virtue because it means they can take away your real freedoms while promising you an adherence to virtue. Fascists have done this historically, like, very much. So them, for example, using the surveillance state or cracking down on your civil rights, that's not them reducing your freedom. In fact, they're increasing your freedom by diverting you away from licentious or degenerate behavior. So, you know, in reality, this is a way of sort of semantically redefining. This is literally work will set you free. Over Auschwitz-Birkenau, work will set you free. That is the logic that they used. Essentially that, you know, service to the state, which is virtuous in the Nazi mindset, is freedom. And that, you know, the meaningful reduction of your freedoms, you know, the enslavement, the imprisonment, the concentration camps, that's just you know, that's a circumstantial. If anything, you're being helped. And don't conservatives use that logic all the time? In fact, I remember, and we saw this, when the Taliban took over Afghanistan, they rounded up the opium addicts and they put them in these hellish, like, torture prison cells to try to get them sober again. And there were conservatives defending this, saying that all the torture and arrest and unfair treatment and whatever in the world, you know, it's fine because it's in the service of virtue, which is to get them off the drugs. So everything to that end is worthwhile, you know. It is a deeply fascistic way of looking at the world. So, you know, I stand by my assessment.
They could stop. that freedom is actually the ability to navigate things that might make you feel good in an instant, delay gratification, delay your flesh, and go towards a higher plane of existence. And I think we need to articulate that as conservatives.
That's really, really good. That's good. And you know, are we not so blessed that our founding fathers recognized exactly that? And that's what our charters of liberty are all about, is, that freedom. And the way that Charlie is able to articulate that definition of true freedom, how they encapsulated that. They codified that freedom for us. They had such foresight. You know, they were, it's like providential and prophetic even, what they were able to accomplish there in their writings, that set up a structure that, it recognized and embraced and empowered freedom, but at the same time, there was a societal structure there that they did codify for us, so that people wouldn't just do whatever they wanted to do, because ultimately, too many people who would choose to do that would harm one another.
What the fuck are they talking about? Is she talking about laws that prevent murder? What is she talking about? This means nothing. The founding fathers were prophetic in their wisdom to set up a system that would keep people from hurting each other. What, you mean law against murder? What are we talking about?
And no, so they took care of that. So the foresight that they had, the issues that we're talking about today, it's like they predicted that kind of stuff way back.
People murdering each other? What are we talking about? What?
Back when would be happening today. So they took care of it in our Bill of Rights and in our Constitution. And then with amendments henceforth, things have already been taken care of.
Which amendment? What are we talking about? What behavior are you looking to restrict? What do you mean? What
for us if we would just go back to that foundation, those charters, and live them out?
And it's
what element of the charters? This is nothing. This is meaningless.
It's just as applicable today. Why? It's because the Constitution was not written for the times it was written to stand the test of time. And your college professors will never tell you this. Guess what? Human beings don't change. We're the same. Human beings.
Why would a college professor make a totally arbitrary and philosophically indeterminable statement? By the way, this is, again, essentialism, which is a component of fascist logic. An evil person is born evil; they're eternally evil. A person who is, who is good is eternally good.
Beings are equally as sinful and screwed up today as they were in 1791, or they were in 700, or they were in 2500 BC. You're dealing with the same raw.
Well, we had more slaves back then. Wait, soaked on left. What point are you trying to make? I've never said that murders don't... Wait, are you arguing... Yeah, people murder less now. Wait, what are we arguing against? Yeah. What? Are you arguing against me or them? The tangential relevance of this. Oh, he's saying people don't change? Oh, right. Well, it's because the surveillance state. Oh, the people aren't the same. Okay, gotcha. I didn't know. I thought... Okay, gotcha. All right. No, human nature is absolutely not essential.
Raw material. Guess what? The left doesn't believe this. This is why they're so into the transgender movement, because they want to be able to change humanity. This is why they're so into abortion. They want to be able to dominate the natural world at whatever inkling or kind of moment they want. Where we as conservatives...
First of all, yes, I want to dominate and change whatever I want, and I don't care. Second of all, aren't conservatives the ones who justify doing anything and everything they want by saying that God gave man dominion over the earth? I mean, isn't that one of the historical arguments against, like, ecological conservation? You know, the idea that humanity has a right to do whatever they want with the land and the beasts that God left on earth for us? I'm pretty sure I've heard that argument from conservatives, you know. Yeah, Stockton left. It's almost like people are products of their environment to an extent. I don't know how you would ever get data from the fucking 1200s, but Jesus. Oh, see, it's exponential. 100 out of every 100,000, I assume. 10 out of every 100,000, 1 out of every 100,000. God damn. People used to kill each other all the fucking time back then. Constantly. They did it for fun.
Recognize what Thomas Jefferson wrote, the laws of nature and nature's God. We realize there's a hierarchy, and this is it. Everybody in this room believes this. There is a God, and we are not him.
They're cucks. They're submissives. They're sexually submissive. This is why I hate sexual submissives. This obsession. God is here and we are beneath him. There is nothing above humanity. Nothing, okay? At least Dr. Fauci can work miracles, and bless us with his, booster shot blessing. What else is there? Find me something above me. Strike me down. Give me a bolt of lightning. This shit really brings out the Reddit atheist in me. This obsession with prostrating yourself beneath what? God? What is God doing? What is he doing? What? Tell me. What is he doing? What's happening? Where? This obsession. The founding fathers also clearly demarked the separation between church and state, but they don't give a fuck about that.
It's that simple. And when you recognize those two things,
we're epistemically inferior. Yes.
Okay, Governor, we have 3 minutes remaining. This session is brought to you by Turning Point Action, so I want to ask you about the upcoming midterms. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I think we're in really good shape because we have a lot of non-politicians running for political office, and that's what we need. It's refreshing. So I do think that we're in really good shape. I think traditionally, too, I mean, in midterms when you have, when you have buffoons running the show on a national level right now.
Aliens are above humans. Listen, the fundamental issue here is that conservatives are obsessed with maintaining a kind of essentialist, epistemically derived hierarchy. Because keep in mind, okay, any thought system in which humanity is beneath God is a thought system in which you can place degenerates beneath non-degenerates with an epistemic virtue. Anytime virtue is divinely determined, the ability to morally distinguish yourself from people you consider degenerates, it stops being a matter of political differentiation and becomes a matter of existential condemnation. The universalism, the model that religion allows people to invoke is at least with Christianity, essentialist by nature, and it leads to a lot of really bad political programs.
People want anything but that. So, yeah, I think the vote's going to go our way. But, Charlie, oh, my goodness, I could just sit here and listen to you all day. You guys are so lucky that Turning Point USA has the leadership that it has. You blow me away. You are amazing. He's amazing. He's amazing. And, Turning Point USA is very, very fortunate. So, you suggested, too, about, what goes on our campuses, right, where there's this, a drive to indoctrinate and to usher in such a liberal agenda via groups maybe that are accepted on campus and everything. And here, Turning Point USA, you guys are like 3,000 campuses, high school, and you're not allowed, though, to be there recruiting on site, right? Other groups are. They're able to. So what you're able to accomplish even with the number.
Reminder, if you see any TPUSA people at your college campus, okay, you have every right to call them nerds when you walk by, okay? Don't get in big arguments with them. Don't fucking debate them. That's what they want, okay? They want to upload to their Instagram videos of them reciting their talking points with you, okay? Just call them nerds and losers. Pick up their little pamphlets they have on their desk, and they'll be like, oh, are you interested? And and you can be like, yeah, I just want to read what are retards into? And then spit on the ground and throw it in the air and walk away. They will never upload that. They will never upload that, ever. They will never upload that. They might have their phones out. They will not upload that, okay? You can upload that if you want to. Yeah, just throw it away. Be like, hey, this is really interesting. Can I take 5 of these for my dorm mates? And they'll be like, oh, yeah, sure. And then walk over to the trash and fucking throw them right in there and then give them the fucking birds and walk away. Perfect. Okay? There we go. Easy. Just, don't engage. Don't fucking give them what they want. Yeah.
Numbers with the effects that we're seeing today on all these campuses, that is going to change this country for the better. And
when they start crying and ask you why, you can just be like, don't be a conservative. You guys suck. You're making life harder. Don't. Stop it. Stop it. Don't take it too serious, okay? Just be, hey, you can cut it out. If you stop, I'll stop. If you stop being conservative, just stop it. Okay? Stop. Don't be weird. Just stop.
Turning Point USA out there letting people know what truth is, and as I said earlier, empowering one another, making sure that people aren't ostracized and criticized so roundly that they want to hold back on speaking truth and being active. Turning Point USA is that group that is...
Yeah, okay, they're just shilling for their org now. All right, okay, cut it, stop, cut the feed, stop, that's enough. Yeah, I didn't want to have matching outfits with Sarah Palin today, but we get what we get. Christ, that was painful. Of course it's painful.